Good afternoon to everybody who is watching video number 76. This one is on solving quadratic inequalities. Keywords here are inequality, solve, constant, coefficient, sum, or product. I've mentioned what these words mean before, so please watch the videos if you haven't already done so to understand them further. But an inequality is when you are using a symbol to represent something that's not equal to. There are four of the symbols we can use. Solving something is when you find the value of letter or the potential values of the letter. The constant is the number term, the coefficient is the word we use to describe a number in front of, sum is when you add, and the product is when you multiply. So as a general rule, this is a nice thing to know. Okay, what we've got here is x squared is more than a squared, so kind of just ignore this. If we've got the more than or the same as symbol in the question that we're given, we know we're going to have to use two separate inequalities to represent our answers. If we've got the less than or the same as symbol, we'll be using one combined inequality to represent our answer. Okay, what I've put here though is just solve whatever inequality is that you're given as you normally would, and the method would depend upon the type that you get. You might like to sketch a little graph and do a little trial to see which type of inequality you should use as your answer. Okay, and that will help you understand it further and why you're allowed to use this general rule. And don't forget, if you divide by a negative, flip the inequality symbol. I haven't got any questions like that here. Anyway, let's do question number one. So if you've got x squared is less than 25, what we should know is what the square root of 25 is. Square root of x squared is x. So x is less than 5 or x is less than minus 5. So we've got two inequalities, but do we combine it? Or do we have two separate inequalities and flip one of the symbols? Well, it's the second option here. It's this one here. Although the first option that I said out loud, but the second option that's in the general rule, because it's a less than symbol. All right. And that's going to be minus 5 is going to go first because it's the smaller number. And then that is less than x, and that is less than 5. Okay. And I'll do a little graph to show you what I am on about. Right, so if we minus 5, put those points there. Okay, if we put the minus 5 on the other side, the y-intercept there would be minus 25. All right, and we just draw that little sketch. Now I'll do that a little bit more detail when we do some graph stuff. Right, but there we go. Now, are we interested in the bits, the range of answers that are between minus 5 and 5, like our answer here suggests, or are we interested in other numbers? All right, and we'll just do some little trials to see, and I'll show you. You don't have to do this, but I'm showing you how it works here. So if we took, let's say, minus 1, for example, there's minus 1. That's in this range. Minus 1 squared is 1, and 1 is less than 25. That's mathematically true. Okay. If we took minus 6, which is outside that range, minus 6 squared is 36. And 36 is less than 25. Does not make sense. It's not mathematically true, is it? So that's why we're not interested in those answers. And anything after that 5 there, and then the whole next whole number would be 6. Again, would be the same thing. 36 is less than 25. Doesn't make sense. Okay? So this has to be our answer. Every number that's between those two values, not including those two values because of the inequality symbol. So you could have minus 4, minus 3, minus 2, minus 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. There are potential solutions to what x is. All right, hopefully that makes it make a bit more sense. And I'll do it for the other ones as well, or a couple of other ones in a minute. Okay, so next question is x squared is more than 9. So again, pretty much exactly the same as this one, but with a different symbol. So x is more than 3 or x is more than minus 3. Well, which one of the two? We've got a more than symbol, so if it's the more than symbol, we're going to have two separate inequalities, and for the smaller number, we just need to flip the inequality round. So that is then going to turn into that, and there is our answer to that one. All right, again, I'll show you a little graph and do a little trial. So if we took, there's a minus 9, and there's our minus 3, and there's our positive 3, and if we try to draw a nice graph, might not work brilliantly, but there we go, that'll do. And all we got to think of is, well, we're saying that we're less than minus 3, so the next number would be minus 4 that's less than minus 3. And we're saying we're also more than 3. Okay, so the next number would be 4 after that, wouldn't it? So if we substituted minus 4 in there, minus 4 squared is 16. 16 is more than 9. That makes sense. Okay, and again, 4 squared, 16 is more than 9. That makes sense. If we took any number in the middle, let's take 0. 0 squared 0. 0 is more than 9. No, that doesn't make sense. So it's nothing in the middle here. All right. So it's everything either side of the -3 and the 3. Therefore, that's why these two are our answers. So x is less than -3. Okay, because these numbers are less than -3, or we've got x is more than 3. Okay, because everything after 3 is positive, is more positive than 3, the bigger number, greater. Anyway, I think you get the point by now. Hope so. Anyway, last one. Basically, x squared, got to add the 64 to both sides, so that's going to give us more than or the same as 64. Okay, let's square root both sides. X is more than or the same as 8, or x is more than or the same as -8. Well, let's decide which one we need to flip. That's our smaller number, the -8. So we're going to get rid of that symbol, and we're going to pop in a less than or the same as symbol for the same reason I just explained in the last question. So x is less than or the same as 8, or x is more than or the same as 8. I meant -8 there. I'm sorry. I will delete that. Rewind and delete. Right. X is less than or the same as -8. There we go. There's our two solutions. Or two ranges of solutions. Okay. Question 2. Solve this one. This one is in the general form of a quadratic. So when you've got a general form of a quadratic, you want to factorize or think about factorizing anyway. So if we factorize this, we've got x. This is grade 5 factorizing this one. Factors of 8 are 1 and 8, 2 and 4. So 2 and 4 are the ones we're interested in. 2, it has to be negative, and 4 also has to be negative to make a -6 if we add, and then they multiply to make a +8. That makes sense. So what we've got there is x minus 2 is less than 0, and x minus 4 is less than 0. If we solve that, that's going to be x is less than 2 and x is less than 4. One's not negative, however, there are two separate inequalities here. It's a less than symbol. If we look at our general rule, that means we're going to combine the two things. We'll put the smaller number first. 2 is less than x, x is less than 4. Okay, that's the quickest way we can do that question. Nice grade 8 bit of maths, made relatively simple. Okay, I will delete all of that, erase it all, so you get an idea of what I'm doing in the next one without getting confused with that working. So this one here, it's just a 56 on the other side. It's a quadratic, but the 56 is on the other side at the moment. So we've got x squared minus x minus 56 is more than 0. Now it's a quadratic, which we can factorize and then go on to solve. X, 56, factors of those going to be positive and negative, positive 7 and a negative 8. Therefore, x is not equal to, it's going to be more than, because we've got the more than symbol there. X is more than -7, or x is more than a positive 8. Okay, which one are we going to flip? Because we've got the more than symbol, we're now going to have 2. We're going to flip the negative one. So it's going to be x is less than -7 and x is more than 8. Or you could put or there if you wanted to. I've done that in the other questions, I'll put or. Alright, there we go. So that's the two potential solutions there, or the potential range of solutions there. Right, move myself over so you can see the last question. X squared plus 8x plus 6 is less than 0. Right, let's have a look at this. Now this one is pretty tricky because looking at this, we can't factorize it. There are no factors of 6 that would make 8 if we were to add. I'm not going to redo the video because that just popped up. I'm sorry that happened. But I'm not going to do it. I've done this video all right so far, so we're going to carry on with this one. X squared plus 8x plus 6. No factors of 6 to add to make 8. So initially maybe you're thinking I can't do it. You can do it because you can complete the square. And if you can't complete the square, watch the complete the square video first, because you can solve a quadratic that way. If we had a calculator, we could use a quadratic formula if we wanted to, but I'm just going to complete the square for this one and just pretend this is a non-calculator question. So x plus 4 all squared minus 16 plus 6 is less than 0. simplify this bit, x plus 4 all squared minus 10 is less than 0. Now, if you don't know what I've done there, go and watch the completed square video. Like I said, add 10 to both sides. That's going to give us 10 on that side, x plus 4 all squared on that side. Square root both sides is going to give you two solutions, so positive, negative root 10. That doesn't give us a whole number, so we leave it as a third. X plus 4 is what's left after we square root both sides, and then we take away the 4 to give you x is equal to minus 4 plus or minus root 10. Okay, now there are two solutions there. Let's just write them out over here. X is less than minus 4 plus or minus root 10. Okay, or x is less than minus 4. Oops, why did I write the same thing out again? Wasn't even thinking there, was I? One solution will be a positive one there, and one solution will be a negative one there. Okay, that's what I was doing. I wasn't writing the same thing again. That would have been pointless. So that's what you've got there. You've got two solutions, this one or this one. You've got to decide which one to flip. Now this is where I'm just going to bring in the calculator and just check to see which one's the smaller one, because I'm not entirely sure. So minus 4 plus root 10 is going to give you that. Well, it's going to be minus, isn't it? Yeah. So that one that's a negative solution of negative 0.83 blah 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 blah. We don't need to worry about that, and then we just go back in and find out what that gives us, and that would be equal to that number. All right, so if we chose a number that, let's say 7, all right, because we've got the less than symbol here, we're saying we're between these two values. All right, we've got the minus 4 is less than minus 4 minus root 10 is less than x. X is less than minus 4 plus root 10. All right, we'll see if we substituted a number in, let's say 7, like I said, into here. We'll see if it makes a mathematically true statement. So we're doing a little trial without doing the little graph. We don't have to do the graph necessarily. So minus 7, because that was minus, wasn't it? So minus 7 needs to be in brackets if we're squaring it. Squared plus 8 multiplied by minus 7 plus 6 equals minus 1. Minus 1 is less than 0. That is a mathematically true statement. It makes sense, and therefore we are definitely right saying that these are our answers. We substitute any number in there that was between those two values of 0.83 something, I think it was, and so minus 0.83 and minus 7 point something. If we substituted any number in, let's put in minus 1, for example. All right, we'll get an answer that makes a mathematically true statement. There we go. Minus 1 is less than 0. If we put any number in outside of that range, let's go with minus 8. This one won't make a mathematically true statement. It's 6, and 6 is not less than 0. 6 is less than 0. It doesn't make sense. Okay, there are two solutions to that one. That all combined because of the type of inequality it was at the beginning. Slightly confusing, yes, most definitely. I probably bumbled my way through some of that explanation, but I hope it made sense. If it didn't, please write in the comments that it didn't make sense, and I will attempt to make that one again with it being a little bit clearer. Please like, subscribe, share, tell people about this. Go on the Core Learning Network channel, watch some videos there, because ultimately this is going to hopefully be a lovely learning resource for you to use in the months and weeks and months and years to come, I would say. So enjoy whatever it is you're going to do for the rest of your day, even if that's just sleeping. That's a lovely thing to do. I always do this at the end, just faff around with the cursor in the middle. I've got to stop doing it because it's really annoying me when I check my videos back. It's an annoying thing, so I will stop doing that. You take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.